Bezalel, that's my son. There he is in his workshop, chipping away at something or other. He's always making something, and usually it's something very beautiful, an angel's wing or a cherub's foot. Why can't he make something useful? I mean, I'd love a new chopping board, for example. But no, he's turning an intricate candle stand, or sculpting yet another angel. He's always loved making things, even when he was a toddler. He'd find some muddy clay and mould it oh so carefully in his little hands until it looked just like a fish, or a sheep, or an angel. Now, of course, he's only really interested in metalwork or carving. Hours and hours he spends engraving delicate designs in metal and wood. Well, you know what I think. How many angels does a mother need in her tent? I'd better explain what we're doing here. This is our camp. I expect you live in a house made of bricks that stays in the same place all the time. Oh, the chance would be a fine thing. I'd grow flowers in the front and veggies in the back. Sorry. Back to the story of us, the Israelites. There's quite a lot of us, about 2.4 million at last count, so I'm told, and we did have houses in Egypt where we used to live. But what we didn't have there was freedom. We were slaves to Pharaoh until Moses came along, and oh, so many wondrous miracles later, the mighty God, who calls us his people, helped us to escape from our slavery. And now we're here, in the desert, living in tents. Moses is amazing. We're all in awe of him. He goes to talk to God, and when he comes back, his face is shining. The thing is, now we've escaped, we really want God to stay with us. We don't want to go off on our own. That would be a disaster. So Moses keeps going off and getting instructions from God about how he wants us to live and also how we can keep his presence close to us. We're waiting for the final instructions now. Moses will be back soon, I'm sure. In the meantime, Bezalel has made yet another cherubim. What will I do with them all? Oh my, have you heard? Moses came down the mountain, and do you know what? He has all the plans from the Lord about how to build a special tent where God's presence will rest. And what do you know? God called my Bezalel, actually named him and his mate Aholiab to be in charge of carrying out all the creative work. Well, I shouldn't be surprised, really. It's like he's been practicing for this job all his life. God said he'd filled him with his spirit to do all the artistic, creative work, and that he's full to the brim with skill, ability, and knowledge in all kinds of craftsmanship. And if that wasn't enough, on top of all that, he's given him and Aholiab the ability to teach others too. Oh, I'm so proud. You must be wondering what's going on here. Well, it all started a few days ago when Moses made an announcement to everyone. He simply invited everyone to give something from what they had to make an offering to the Lord. So, if you wanted to, you could bring some of the materials we need to build the tabernacle. The tabernacle, that's what we're calling this special tent, the place where God's presence will stay. And after the announcement, they started to come. A steady flow of people, bringing their offering, their precious jewels and gold and silver that they'd carried out of Egypt. It was like no one wanted to be left out. Everyone wanted to make a contribution, to be a part of this creation, which will be a place where God's Spirit lives. Morning after morning they still kept coming. You should see the great piles of gold, silver and bronze, blue, purple and scarlet fabrics, the skins, wood and precious stones that have turned up outside our tent. It's unbelievable, and more than the craftsman could possibly use." So Bezalel let Moses know, and today the order went out around the camp: "Don't bring any more offerings." Well, I haven't seen much of my son for the last 9 months. He's worked so hard carrying out all God's instructions. They've made curtains and posts and crossbars, lampstands, altars, basins, and garments for the priests to wear. He's had so much help from skilled people, and he's taught them carefully so that everything has been done properly. But the most special thing, my Bezalel, he made that himself. It's called the Ark, and it's a wooden box covered in gold, which is for carrying the stone tablets which have the commandments God gave us written on them. He made a beautiful cover for the top, and yes, you've guessed, it's got 2 angels on it, with their wings outstretched, overshadowing the cover. And now it's done. Complete, finished, each job ticked off. Moses has checked everything, and they are assembling it all. Look, here it is. There's an outer curtain all the way around, and inner curtains to separate the holy place and the holiest of holy places, which is where the ark is kept. The lampstand and special altars and tables are all in their proper places. The priests are wearing their special clothes. Bezalel and Aholiab have done a good job. But will it be good enough? Will God's Spirit come? We stood back and waited. Everyone held their breath. And then the cloud came and covered the tent, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle. No one could go in, not even Moses, because the cloud had settled and God's glory was filling the special place. Now we felt safe and excited because we knew God was with us. If the cloud lifted, we knew it was time to pack up our tents and move on. But if it stayed above the tabernacle, we stayed put. By day, the cloud was over the tabernacle, and by night, the fire was in the cloud. I remember going to watch Bezalel work one day, just as he was finishing off the ark. I could see the contentment in his face. It was like he had a connection with God right there, like this was a good work that God had prepared for him since being a child. And I felt it too. For a moment, a snatched glimpse of being right where we should be, just like the angels, so close to God's presence.